What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Brujo 101. It is October, Ashe.
It is.
This
it's
is
spooky season. Spooky season.
Okay, you're one of those.
Ovi.
You got
Ovi.
spooky season, pumpkin spice latte season.
I hate pumpkin spice.
Okay, I thought that goes hand in hand with spooky season.
No, that's like Starbucks. Like, I hate anything pumpkin. No pumpkin pie.
I do like pumpkin. I love pumpkin pie. I actually had a pumpkin spice protein bar that I was kind of hesitant to try, but somebody said, you got to try it. And they left me a piece, and I was like, well, I'll take it. And then when I tried it, I'm like, hey, this is fucking good. I did the pumpkin spice latte when it first came out just to try it. I can't do the flavors, I'm not a fan of the flavor. I like black coffee, dude. I just like
no
black
cream,
coffee.
No sugar, no nothing.
Nothing, just
Wow.
black.
Just the adrenaline.
That's it. I like the flavor of the coffees. Like some of these, like I like to like grind my own beans and.
You're so fucking trendy. Legit.
No, pumpkin spice latte
do you
is
have
trendy.
A French press?
I do.
Fucking guy.
But I like coffee. That's not trendy. That's liking coffee, yo. I like coffee. I like good coffee beans. I enjoy, like I said, I don't like ground coffee. I can't stand instant coffee.
It is beneath you.
It is not beneath me. It just tastes like shit.
To drink. Do you remember Sanka?
I do. My mom drank Sanka.
That's an old ass coffee. They don't make it anymore, huh?
No, Jeffrey Dahmer drank Sanka.
That's why I thought of it right now.
Are you watching it?
I already I binged it one day.
What'd you think? I'm going to talk about it on YoYoYo, but
I thought it was really sad.
Is that all?
All the way around. I thought it was sad for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was sad how racism plays such like a big role in our society. Like, had it been a bunch of white people getting killed, that shit would have been. But because it wasn't. And I also thought, like, that guy had balls.
Jeffrey?
Yeah. He fucking ate people. Like, that takes a lot of gumption.
Okay,
right?
now, no, does it?
But it does. Like, first of all, I think the fact, well, obviously he was crazy, okay? But, like, he, like, cut him up, right? Mm-hmm. And then he butchered him.
Mm-hmm. But he got off on that.
Yeah, he totally did. But then he took the time to, like, eat, like, a la Hannibal Lecter, started eating them, right? Mm-hmm. And I think the fact that he offered, like, meat sandwiches to his neighbors, which I looked up that part because I couldn't believe it, and they said that's true. I'm like, dang.
The eating of the people, as shitty as it is not that surprise. People have been eating people for a very long time.
So you think that's the least of the troubles?
No, it's horrible. Don't get me wrong.
But like in the scale of what he did.
In the scale of what he did, yeah. Once somebody's dead, they're dead. The torture that he did to them, all the horrible shit that he did. But once you're dead, you're fucking dead. Like, what? You don't know that anybody's eating you.
But I almost feel like the people who died fared better than the guy who he gave the lobotomy to.
Yes.
Right?
I haven't seen the whole thing.
Oh, okay. So there's like the people who survived, because there was people who survived him, obviously. Mm-hmm. I think they were more fucked, right? Like, because you know how you go down a rabbit hole? So you have to watch the whole thing. And then I started like looking up little things that I was like, oh, that seems so crazy. And no, it fucking wasn't.
You said racism.
Mm-hmm.
I was so when I just started it, and I'm on episode 5 because you just get sucked in.
Yeah. I think it's 10.
Yeah, it's 10, so I'm halfway through. G. Riley said to me, that is the epitome of white privilege. And G. Riley's black. And I'm like, white privilege? But then when I started seeing it, I'm like, I get it. This dude gets pulled over with bodies in the back. Go ahead. He gets arrested. The judge is like, you molested a fucking kid, but you're a good guy.
How fucking horrible was that? He was like, you need a second chance.
A second chance. The biggest thing that's fucking with me, Tanya, is, did you see the Richard Ramirez documentary?
I loved it. I thought it was great.
Do you remember what the director said about why he didn't because there was some glimpses into his past, but they didn't expand on it.
Yeah.
And they gave a reason for that. Do you remember what he said?
No, but I know that they didn't go into his past a lot.
He said, I didn't want to address any of his, because, let me keep this stop before I lose it. The director said, I didn't want to go into his past because I didn't want to justify feel like I was justifying what he did, nor did I want to take away from the victims by saying this guy went through this guy went through that.
Yeah, like he didn't talk about his abusive home life, anything like that.
Why did nobody say that about Jeffrey Dahmer?
Well, because I think that's an adaptation from the book the dad wrote.
Oh, I don't give a fuck. It's still a documentary on Netflix. They're basically saying they're giving this guy a million excuses as to why he is the way he is. Where it's Richard Ramirez, as evil as he wasn't eating the motherfuckers.
Well, I mean, some people say he did, like he would bite them and he was gonna eat. Like he did, maybe take a little bit.
Okay,
but
he didn't have a
the same.
refrigerator full of goddamn body parts and organs. All right, he was doing some horrible. Both of these guys are horrible fucking people. But what I'm saying is, I don't know nothing about how horrible Richard's life was.
Yeah,
but this white dude,
you know, the whole fucking shebang, right?
They're almost like they're trying to get you to empathize with this.
Like
fuck.
the mom had postpartum.
Correct, and she was taking drugs.
He had a fucking hernia surgery. May have gone awry.
Correct.
But like, I think that they're trying to humanize him because nobody's ever tried to humanize.
Why
a serial
Richard?
killer.
No.
Well, because he's Mexican.
Do you see what I'm saying? So when you see all the cops, when the black lady's calling the cops and it's like, hey man, that was a little kid. Did anybody check his ID? Hey man, we took care of it, man. We took care of it. And it's like, are you the shit he got away with because he was a young white male is just horrible. And look, I hate playing the race card or anything with like, oh, the this, the that. But it's so blatant on this documentary that it's disgusting.
I feel like the other thing is too, it was a totally different time, right? The weird thing is that they try to act like
the Night Stalker and Jeffrey Dahmer were almost in the same time period.
Well, then
they were literally almost in the same time period. So in the
serial killer timeline, there was Ed Gein, right, a long time ago. Then there was Jeffrey Dahmer. And then there was that guy who used to paint the clowns. Cheekies, help me. The serial killer who painted...
The guy that...
John Wayne Gacy.
Gacy was before them.
No, Gacy came after.
Honey, Gacy was in the 70s. I promise you. John Wayne Gacy was before these guys.
But when did he get caught?
I want to say before Jeffrey Dahmer and Richard Ramirez even fucking killed a victim.
Because they were trying to allude to the fact that all those people were like...
No. Gacy was prior to Jeffrey Dahmer.
He was in the
Richard
70s,
Ramirez.
like with the happy face killer and all those people.
And then Richard Ramirez was in the 80s, and Dahmer got caught in the early 90s.
What was it?
There you go.
Oh, there you go.
No, yeah. So that timeline is.
Oh, okay. Then I was wrong. I was like, why are all these white people getting away with killing people?
No.
I mean, which they did anyway. But
and John Wayne Gacy again, he got caught with a lot of he got away with a lot of shit because he was this like productive member of the church and the community and politics.
Oh, he started in so they were kind of like.
So he started, but then he didn't kill for like 10 years. Yeah. So he went from 78
overlapped a little.
So from 78 to the 8, so he was around with Richard Ramirez because Richard Ramirez was around in the mid 80s.
In the 80s for sure.
Yes, correct. Right? So Dahmer, there's a part when they said so he kills and then he doesn't kill again for 10 years. He goes silent. There's a part in the documentary where they say that. So
didn't the other thing that bothered you, like you could totally tell these weren't Hispanic. Really? 84, 85. Huh, mira. They're Mexican.
But that was fucking. He put in work. He put in Mexican overtime.
Fucking Mexican overachievers.
Yeah, that motherfucker.
Overachievers. What you did in 10 years, I'm doing one.
15 victims for Ramirez.
Because they don't know, right?
17 for Dahmer.
And he had like 20 years.
And Dahmer, they're saying that there's probably more that they don't know about. Yeah.
And
33 plus for Gacy.
And the funny thing is that Gacy and Dahmer both were like closeted homosexuals. Well, Dahmer wasn't closeted really, and they both like made it a point to kill men. But what I was going to tell you,
Well, at that time, almost everybody was closeted.
well, yeah, until
Yeah.
like the 80s, 90s, I felt like,
I think they just started like now. It's just more like nobody's really coming out. They just are.
oh, that's like, it's not a thing, right? Where
No.
you come out anymore.
No.
But what I want to tell you is you could totally tell that those parents were not Hispanic because like he's killing people and nobody's going in his room.
Bro.
Nobody's fucking.
Bro.
Nobody's fucking like
The
open that
fucking
shit.
grandmas. It's not fun.
Like if you found
Jeffrey.
like I have a son. If I found a mannequin, just the mannequin
In
a
the bed.
I'd be like,
Yo, what the fuck,
what the
bro?
fuck are you doing? You wouldn't have a door.
Yeah. Yeah.
You wouldn't have a fucking door.
Yeah.
Like, and then
Yeah.
he's in the fruit cellar, and I'm getting fucking
I do my taxidermy.
what?
Oh, your
But
taxidermy.
how weird is the fucking dad too that he thinks that's a way to bond?
Oh, dude, but that's just.
But
a
then I thought
crazy
about it, and I was
motherfucker.
like, you think people would say that about me? Like, come on, Nick, help me with the chicken. They are white.
Yeah.
But then I was like, we kill chickens, and I have Nico help.
Oh, do you really?
Fucking A.
Is that traumatizing? No, because
Not to
people.
me.
But here's the thing: people have been killing chickens for a long time. It's like, hey, go in the backyard, get a chicken, because
Eat
you
it,
would
right?
eat your
Yeah,
chickens.
that's true.
So it's like that's almost like that's part of like life.
This is
Yeah.
true. If he was left on an
Yeah.
island, he'd be okay.
He'd know how to pluck and eat a chicken.
Sure. But finish watching it and
I
then
will,
tell me.
and then we'll talk
what
about
you-
it. So-
what you think.
I want to say thank you for my baño,
You're welcome.
my bath.
Yes,
Um,
the little bath.
this is already prepared
Yes.
because you do them both ways, where you just do the herbs.
Yeah, I'll dry all the herbs that it takes to do a baño, and I'll send it with instructions in the mail, and then people can do them on their own. It's very user-friendly instructions.
How
but
many herbs, and is it herbs and spices like the Kentucky Fried Chicken?
There's
or
no
is it herbs?
spices. There's no
Okay,
spices.
It's all herbs.
21 minimum.
21 minimum.
Unless it's a specific deity that I'm doing the baño for, that I'm using the energy, which that is a specific one. So that's totally different because I was doing baños for Ochun today.
Ochun is the one in the river.
The one in the river, money. A lot of people associate her with love, things like that. Good vibes.
Good vibes.
Good loving vibe.
You know, every time I've done one of your baños, I feel the change in just even my demeanor, my behavior sometimes. Like, it's almost like there's this cleansing that happens.
Well, that's what they're for. All those. So when we do, like, when people order baños dry from me and then they try to do them, they work, but they'll message me and they'll be like, "Can I just pick it up when you do it?" But of course, mine are going to feel different because I have ceremonies done. When I'm doing it a certain way. I pick the yerba a certain way. I pray over it.
I've done both.
I leave it with Orisha. So mine sits there. Mine's,
And I think the instructions said to boil it with rum.
water. A shot of rum, water,
Shot of rum
honey.
and water and honey. Yeah. And I did. I did all that. Let it cool. But and I felt it every single time. It's not like it was like different. Like I wasn't like, this one was weak. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like that.
Este
at
no
all.
me gusta.
Este vale verga. You know, fucking, I like it.
Valiendo-
I like it when you rub it.
I like-
You know, this one felt like I masturbated. The other one feels
Felt
like
like-
we fucked. You know.
That's a good. That's
not
a
as
good.
real,
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
a good way to put it. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So,
I don't want to think about fucking everybody who picks up a baño from me, but sure.
but yeah, it's I had never ever heard of a spiritual bath until I met you. I've heard of sound bath.
Which I want to do.
I've had a sound bath with a Reiki treatment
Okay.
combined. The nudist resort just sent me a invitation. They're doing a sound bath in November.
Back to the nudist place, huh?
Who likes clothes?
Well, no one likes clothes,
We just wear them because it's,
but some of us do want to keep wearing them around others.
Sure, unless nobody else is wearing them.
Then you would be fucking weird.
Yeah,
You
wearing
can't
it.
be weird.
Correct. You can't be weird. I'm the only one at the nude beach with a fucking out with an outfit.
Yeah, and then people have the wrong idea, right? They think nudist colonies are going to be all these like ripped, buff people.
No.
It's really a plethora of people.
Yes.
Because I've been to a nude beach, and yeah, it's a plethora. It's a cornucopia of bodies. if you will.
Plethora, cornucopia. Look at you using all your fall words. What's the horn of plenty?
Cal State LA, thanks.
Did you go to Cal State LA?
I did.
No shit. When?
97,
Fuck, maybe I was there.
98.
I was there in the early 90s.
I was there in the late 90s.
I was there in the mid early to mid. I was there. I was taking a lot of Chicano studies,
Of course.
a lot of communication classes.
No, because Cal State LA is known for that, right? Everybody from East
Oh,
LA transferred to Cal
bro.
State LA, and it was like the
Bro,
fucking
I couldn't
Mecca
get
of
enough
Chicano
history of
studies.
music, history of Mexico, and which leads me back. That's where I was gonna say with the eating of people. The Aztecs were eating people.
Yeah, that we eat their hearts.
They would eat the flesh, not just the heart.
Well, but the heart was like,
A lot of that was an excuse to eat the flesh.
really?
So there was a lot of mass starvation going on back then. And they created this thing. I was just talking about this, called the Flowery Wars.
Why does it sound so familiar to me?
So the Flowery Wars were staged battles and wars between different tribes because they were hungry and they didn't want their people to go hungry. So they would stage these wars where you have a tribe and I have a tribe, right? And I say to you, hey, tribal leader Tanya, let's create a war.
Okay.
I'd capture some of your fucks
You capture some of my fucks,
and I eat your fucks.
and you eat mine.
And yes, because it's horrible to
Oh,
eat
we're
your
just
own
trying to
fucks.
survive.
Correct. So the sacrifices kept getting more and more and more, but it was an excuse to keep on killing people and eating their flesh. Check out Flowery Wars when you get a chance. So again, Jeffrey did it out of perversion and whatever else he did it. But, you got the survivors from that flight in the Andes, remember, that ate each other?
And you have that show Yellow Jackets. Did you guys watch that?
Did not see Yellow
With
Jackets.
the girls who crashed. They're a soccer team that crashed in the mountains.
Same thing.
Same thing. It's really good. And they go cannibal.
Well, that's the thing, dude. If you're fucking hungry,
You think you could do it?
you're going to go... Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Why, you fucking didn't think about it at all, Martin?
No way, dude. And you would too. Your instinct to survive is way higher than your fucking instinct of, oh, that's gross.
Would you do it, Chiquis?
Fuck yeah.
Oh, he's the first one to go? Chiquis says you're done.
Oh, dude, I'd be done. We were talking about that. We were sitting there. We were outside. It was me, Paul, JB, and Hannah, and Cheeky. And we were talking about would you be able to eat somebody, and everybody looked, and then I think Hannah said, "Damn it, me and Martine would be the first to go because we're the meatiest."
That's fucking funny.
Oh, homie, you know how much pork belly I got
That's
going on right
fucking
here?
funny.
Yeah, Paul and Cheeky would be the last ones.
Chiquis, you're safe. You're so safe. You know, when my mom was in Mexico, I want to tell you something. She went to school with a lot of foreign exchange people because she went to like that fancy school. And there was a German girl there who was German Mexican, right?
Okay.
And she said she went to her house. When you see my mom, it's hard to tell you. She went to her house and they had a fucking table lamp made out of human flesh.
Oh.
So my mom sat there and she was like, oh, this lamp is weird, right? Like, it looks so clear. She goes, it was like very thin, almost like paper, but it had like the traces of, I guess, like the veins or the blood, like, or something. It looked weird. And they told her, oh, it's human flesh.
So they are now doing art pieces with... So say you know how like you cremate somebody and they keep their ashes
I
and shit?
saw that. What the fuck is that?
Now they're doing art pieces with tattoos. So say you have a chest piece.
No, I'm
They'll
out.
take off the skin.
Nah, fuck
They'll
that.
put it somewhere, and now you have the skin you have the tattoos of of your loved one. so that they live on. You know what I mean? A part of them is there with you.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
It's what they're
yeah,
doing.
Please do.
It's what they're
there you
doing.
go. They do diamonds out of them too, right? Well, remember Joan Rivers had all those cremated remains under her bed, all of her friends?
No.
Joan Rivers used to ask her friends when they would cremate them, can I have a little vial of their remains? And she had a box under her bed. And when she was cremated, she asked to be mixed with all her friends and thrown, I think, in the ocean. So she was like, I want to be with my friends.
I like that. That's cool.
I mean, little pieces of you, right? Not the whole ashes.
But what piece did you get?
It's random.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
once the ashes are out there, you don't know what part
So
it is.
santeros were supposed to not be cremated. I don't know if I told you guys that ever. We cannot get cremated. We have a ceremony called itutu. And in that ceremony,
Sounds like a Bad Bunny song.
hey, get it? In that,
Nada pero y tú, vamos pero y tú.
so the itutu, they say if you're saints, all the orishas that I have, if they're ready to leave with me, and if they are, they'll do a ceremony. But if they want to stay with somebody and somebody inherits them, then they have to like take the responsibility of them on. I've always said that what's mine will go with me. I don't want them asking. I paid for that shit. It's mine. I'm taking it with me.
Now, what are you supposed to do? Get buried?
Get buried. I have a problem with that.
Embalmed and all that shit?
Yes, I have a problem with that personally. So I'm not sure what's going to happen when I pass.
So there is a podcast called The Good Death.
Okay.
And it's this woman who speaks all about death and natural burials.
Like the ones in your backyard if you go 6 feet in, like that?
So a lot of these are in the desert and things like that, or in the woods by a tree where you become
Part of the moss. Whatever.
yeah, whatever you call that, the mulch or whatever the hell, you know. And it's, you know, they'll put you, like, there's no chemicals, because all these chemicals that they're putting on people are freaking horrible.
Yeah, well,
You
they
know?
embalm you
The
and then
embalming
you don't
fluid.
what's it called?
Decompose.
Decompose. For a while.
Supposedly, I mean, for a while, but at some point you start, you know. And so they'll wrap you like in a shawl or some shit with no preservatives, and you
Very
just
Jesus Christ like, no?
very much so. And other than the raising from the dead,
Which we don't know. Maybe it's happened.
Hey, you know what? Wait 3 days after you do a natural chingadera on me and see if I come back.
Right? I'll be like, Martin.
I might come back. You
I'll
never
go
know.
back.
I'd be like, hey, why are you looking for me amongst the dead? I am here. Go tell the others that I live.
Well, maybe-
Woo!
there you go. He's going to have a... Oh, there you go.
No, she's not. my nashes.
His Nashes will not be going there.
No. I'm not going guardy bound.
Imagine after all the things you said about Guaris, and then she just throws you in the Guari land.
In Guaryville over there with fucking over there with in the cafetales and shit.
What?
Put him in my jewelry so I can carry him.
She can't. She doesn't even know where Guatemala is. She can't. Where's Guatemala on a map, Chiqui?
Down.
Your motherland that you've never been to. Your motherland that you ignore.
Do
the
they-
mother you never talk to.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do they? Okay, so I went to Cuba.
Go with me.
Oh, that's your mama.
We should go to Antigua. Okay, but anyway, I went to Cuba and they bury you, right? And then after a certain amount of time, they dig you up in Cuba.
What?
And then they get your bones
Okay, I've heard of this.
and they put you like in a smaller box to open up the big box for someone who needs it.
Oh my god. They recycle the box.
Totally.
Wow. And then they give the bones to the paleros.
And then I go buy them. And then you wonder how that market works.
Dude, that's a giant. Now, also, there's bones, you know, in science classes.
Of course,
Esqueletos right there. People donated their shit to
you
science.
could buy a medical skeleton.
You know, there's I remember when I was taking an anatomy physiology class at Harvard College, and I remember we traveled to go see cadavers, and that had been donated to where we were like they were able to cut into the brain and
Well, there's
cut
a
into
whole
the
place
this
where they
and
have
that.
cadavers and they bury them to see how mushrooms grow, how this. It's like the cadaver garden. I think it's in Maryland. Yeah, you could go see it. But those bones are obviously would not be good for brujeria. Those aren't the bones you need. You need the ones that we're stealing. And
The ones from Cuba.
yes.
You need them Cuban.
No, or from somewhere
You need
else.
them dancing bones.
You need
You need them salsero bones and shit.
you need people who have had
If they don't have
ceremony.
plantain, then bone no good.
How racist is that?
You need some mofongo bone.
How racist is that?
I know.
How racist?
I know.
We're no better than the cops on Dahmer.
Oh, Jesus. This is fucking witch privilege.
We're, what? That'd be crazy.
Uh-huh.
I couldn't. I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could be accountable. I mean,
You would be
I mean,
accountable.
a huevo.
You
A
would,
huevo,
you would
a huevo,
definitely be a
a
fucking
huevo.
cannibal
But I'd be
all
one
day.
of the first ones gone too, girl.
Oh,
I mean, what the
dude,
fuck?
they chop me and you up
I'd be
quickly.
done.
Oh, yeah. We got some meat on these
Right?
bones.
Oh my God. Maybe I would lose weight so you guys wouldn't like kill me. Fucking A.
What a motivator, right?
Right? I don't want to die first.
I want to die because I don't want these fucks to eat me in case of an
Legitimately.
emergency.
Well, Chiquis eats chips in front of me. She's like, I'm good.
Oh
Never
my
going down
God.
before you.
So this weekend, I came home early from the road. It has, been a year. It was a year yesterday that my mom passed. To the day. It was October 2nd.
May she rest in peace.
R.I.P. And I had no intention of taking of being home. And one of my sisters said to me, at the 1 year mark, it's customary for Catholics to do a mass for their loved one.
Okay.
And I said to Chiqui, I go, man, I was never home, like, for anything. Like, why would I change it now? And she goes, well, you should be there for your family, yada, yada.
Thank you, Cheeky.
So I'm like, so after much, tossing it around, I said, oh, you know what? I'll go to work half the week and then I'll come back to be here for the service. They did the service at a church in Orange County. Nothing about that church was. I've been to some Catholic churches where it's like, oh, this is a beautiful fucking church.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is. I might not agree with the dogma and all this other shit,
But it's nice.
but it's beautiful. There's nothing beautiful about this church. Nothing that felt, God, this feels good. Nothing whatsoever. But I'm there. And the service starts, and, I can't get on board with anything that they're saying. Mm-hmm. Nothing that they're saying is resonating with me. And they did the stand up, sit down,
Kneel,
which
kneel,
frustrates the fuck out of me, And I did stand and I sat. I didn't like it, but I did it. When they said get on your knees, I said suck my dick. I did not get on my knees. I think my mom was on her knees long enough for me and my whole offspring.
We didn't have verbal suck my dick in church though, right?
No.
Good.
No.
Good.
But I found myself laughing, and I found things funny. And then
This is already not going the way it's supposed to.
and then I said something, and then Naomi started laughing and was like just giving me these eyes like, shut the fuck up because you're gonna make me laugh more. And when you're laughing and you're not supposed to be laughing, but
It's
now
even funnier.
it's even funnier. And the more I saw that kid laughing, the more it made me laugh. And then I got chills. And then I felt my mom.
Well, there you go.
And then I remembered before my mom got sick, before she got sick, we went to a service at a church.
Excuse me.
And it was for an old friend of hers, Nelly Galindo, rest in peace.
My God, you remember her name?
I do. We knew Nellie our whole lives. Our whole lives. She was our neighbor from the day we were born till the day she died. I remember being at this woman's service, and incidentally, she had Alzheimer's as well. But we're at Nellie's service, and I'm sitting next to my mom, and this is before my mom got sick, and my mom had a great sense of humor, by the way. And they're doing, all the things that the priest does, where they got all the incense and the.
I want one of those, the ones that go like.
Yeah. And then he just has this, all the smoke comes out. That was great. And so he's blessing the chingadera, right? And he's got his altar boys are handing him things and assisting him. And when he gets done with
like
his
a magic show?
Yeah, 100%. And one of the altar boys is not making fun of his condition. I don't even know what his condition was, but he kept, and I'm flailing my arm, kind of like Donald Trump was flailing. Like, so this kid's a flailer, and he
he's a flailer.
Well, his hands are everywhere. It's almost like what do you call that? What's that disease where you can't control your muscles?
I don't want to get involved with this. I'm just gonna let you go.
I forget the name of the muscle spasm. It's like muscle spasm, cerebral palsy.
Yeah,
cerebral palsy. Yeah. It's cerebral palsy where they're like the kid's arms are just flailing constantly, and it's not a big deal. I mean, the kid's up there doing his thing, being a holy Catholic, and the priest.
My eyes twitching.
And the priest, he gets done with the chingadera. And he had already given the other kid something. So he looks to give the kid the thing. And he puts it on. And then the kid goes like, the arm just flies.
No.
And then the priest looks at him. And he pulls the goddamn thing back. And
he's like, not today, sir.
Bro, I could not stop laughing. And my mom, God bless her, rest in peace, is having a heart. She's dying. She cannot stop laughing. We're laughing because the priest was like, he kind of like went and he goes, no, motherfucker.
No,
and he just said it somewhere else. Like he broke tradition. He broke everything he was supposed to do because everything is a ritual. Like everything is a step and it goes this way and then it goes this way. And that day he said, oh no, motherfucker, I'm not giving you this because this is going to go flying.
But why would his parents
make him an altar boy? Well, I'm guessing like on a regular service it would have been fine. And I'm guessing they're not doing like memorials every single day, not like
no, but still, people are gonna totally make fun of him.
Well, I wasn't making fun of him. I was more laughing that the priest was like, "Oh no, motherfucker!" And I remember specifically laughing, and I'll never forget that day. It was just such a memorable day, mostly because of the twitching kid and my mom and me laughing. But when I laughed at the church yesterday, I remembered that moment, and I remembered my mom laughing, and it made me feel good about laughing that day.
That's fine. I think that sometimes things happen so that you will have like this core memory unlocked, and it's like Spirit's way of telling you I'm around.
Yes, and I felt her presence more than the service, as Catholic as she was, more than everything there. That laughter connected me more to her memory than anything else.
I like that.
So, we leave the church. We head out to the cemetery from there.
Okay.
We went from the church. I went to my sisters and then to the cemetery. So I went to the cemetery. All my sisters took flowers. I didn't take flowers. I'm like, there's going to be nowhere to put these goddamn flowers there. But there's a lot of flowers. God bless them. There's always a lot of flowers there. So we're at the cemetery, we're hanging out at the cemetery for a little while, and we're all there. Everybody was there, like me, all of my sisters, everybody's significant other. It was a lot of people there for her 1 year gone. And we're sitting there and we're talking, and I told one of my sisters the story about the shaking guy, and she was laughing as well,
because it's fucking funny.
And then from there, I took off to go. There was going to be a rosary at 6 o'clock at my sister's house. And again, I'm not like a big fan of all this stuff, but I'm here for everybody and for this woman's memory, right? I had a friend of mine from Florida went to Mexico, went to the Basilica,
Okay.
brought me a Virgen,
Okay.
and brought me a vela
From the Basilica.
from the Basilica
Okay.
with the Guadalupe. And I took it to my sister's. I've had it at home since she gave it to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was in July, sometime in the summer she gave it to me. And I've had it at home, and, sometimes I'll do candle stuff where I'm like, working, wikiing. And I took it, and when I got to my sister, because we went to the like I said, my granddaughter's game, so we got there right before the rosary started. Everything was already set up, and I had this table with this little sarape type of cloth, and then he had the deacon or priest or whatever he was. I don't know what he was. He was something. Had the Bible, and he had all his stuff up there that he needed, and they had the candle that I had taken. And I took it specifically because I was going to light it when they did the rosary, but they instinctively brought it from my sister's got a Day of the Dead thing where she's got a big picture of my mom, and then she's got all the
nice.
velas and a bunch of stuff, and that's where I had put it. And so they took it and they put it there, and which was really cool because this woman was so connected to the Virgen de Guadalupe. So on her, for the memorial thing for the rosary, there was a Virgen de Guadalupe candle specifically
From the
brought
Basilica.
from the Basilica, which was kind of pretty poetic.
Yeah.
And then the rosary started. Now, a lot of times, I'll show up to a hotel and I'm just exhausted. I'm tired.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll play Misterios Gozosos or whatever the hell it's called. And it's the rosary. They're praying the rosary on Spotify.
So, hold on. Let's not go any further right now, my friend. So, you get to the hotel.
Sometimes.
Tired, like other. Yeah, sometimes. Tired.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, you know what would be good right now? The fucking Misterios of Rosario.
To knock me the fuck out. I listen to it and it puts me to sleep.
So, you must find it soothing.
It's very much so. It just reminds me of my mother, and I hear that
familiar,
voice,
right?
and it's familiar, and I'll listen to
Okay.
it. So,
Guided meditation brought to you by the Rosary.
by the third mystery, I'm not enough, right? Because it's the primer misterio, segundo.
Yes,
I think
yes.
it's 5 mysteries, right?
I don't know. There's a gang of them.
And it's and each of them, once you do you do the Padre Nuestro, then you go do the
You'll go around, right?
and you'll go around, right? And so, like I said, and it's like this is the Jesus is in the garden praying, and the next one he's getting crucified.
Is
The
this
next
in
one-
English or in Spanish at your sister's?
Spanish.
Okay, just
And-
asking.
And so the guy starts the rosary, and by the way, I'm tired. I've just
Yeah, you've
flew
been on
from
the road
East.
a long
I've been on the road.
time. Yeah,
I've
for
been
sure.
on so many flights, and I'm holding a rosary in my hand.
How close are you to this man who's praying the Rosary?
Like he's where this bottle is.
Uh-huh.
There is somebody sitting here. I'm sitting here.
Oh,
My sister's sitting-
So
one of
you're,
my sisters
you're
is
within
sitting.
eye view.
Oh, I'm right there.
Okay, got it.
I'm right
Got
there.
it, got it. Okay.
And then his wife is somewhere right here. And the dude just starts going. And I'm listening and I'm trying to keep up and I'm repeating.
Doing the little thumb
I'm
thing?
doing the repeating with the rosary. But then there's parts where, por mi culpa, por mi gran culpa, and this whole like, and my sister's looking at me like, motherfucker, aren't you gonna? And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not doing that. Like that's that's not part of this. That's like a whole other chingadera. It's like, you guys, I'm gonna say this, and then you repeat it, and then he says it, and then everybody, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing. I'm not gonna play.
Yeah, when they're like, piedra de marfil.
Yes. Ruega por ella.
Ruega
Ruega
por
por ella.
nosotros.
Yeah. It's like, oh, fuck me. And so, I'm doing the Hail Mary, full of grace, blah, blah, but in Spanish, right? Santa María, Madre de Dios, ruega, Señor, por nosotros los pecadores, ahora y en la hora de nuestra muerte también. Dios te salve María, llena de gracia, el Señor es contigo, bendita eres entre todas las mujeres, y bendito es el fruto de tu vientre, Jesús. Like, I know the whole goddamn thing, right? And so, I'm doing it, but my eyes are closing.
Oh, no.
My eyes are closing, homie. And I don't know, somewhere between the third and the fourth mystery, I must have
You had a
been.
mystery of your own.
Oh, bro.
And you went to sleep.
I was out, and all of a sudden I feel a kick in my leg. And of course, it's my sister. And I open my eyes and I look over at her and I'm like, oh, shit. And then I'm like,
where am I?
Dude, literally.
Right?
And I look up, and in the distance, I see, and I had taken off my glasses. And
so you can sleep better. Of course, they might fall.
I had taken off my glasses, and I look over, and I see the the thing where my sister has the picture of my mom, and it's a big picture, and my mom's laughing, and looks like she's holding a rosary, and I'm looking, and she's, again, the laughter.
That's funny.
And I could see it through my shitty eyes. I can still see the laughter, and she's laughing at me. She's not laughing at me. I'm looking at the picture. I'm giving it that value. I'm giving it meaning.
She probably was laughing. Like, who falls asleep with this man one person away from you?
Yeah, and on her memorial that you took time off to be at, yada yada. Then the guy, he finishes the rosary, and he says, if you want to bring your rosarios up here,
I'll bless him.
I'll bless them, And my sister said, you should take your beads over there.
Okay.
Now, I had a lot of stuff on me, but I had one specific set of beads that I had that has they're those red prayer beads.
Uh-huh.
And then it has an elephant, because Mom was a big fan of the elephants with an evil eye on it.
Uh-huh.
That Chiqui got me that evil eye. Now, out of everything that I have, those beads and that is probably the most meaningful to me for a lot of reasons. And I was like, this guy might get offended because it's not a rosary.
So what?
Fuck it. I took it off. I put it there. And Hooter's looking. Because Hooter was there, right?
Hooter's like, what the fuck?
And Hooter's like, he goes, when you got up and you took your beads off, he goes, I thought you were going to take everything off. The bracelets.
Here, wait, espérate.
Hold on. Boom, boom, boom. He goes, and then when I walked away, he goes, you're not going to leave your shirt right there? Because I had a Virgen de Guadalupe shirt on me.
Funny.
And I go, fucking Hooter, shut the fuck up, right? Like, you should go sit there so he can throw the blessings on you. So he did the blessing on everything. And at the end of it all, like I said, I don't find a lot of comfort in the church. It's not like I feel, but there are little things that do bring up the memory and the connection. And look, man, it's a year that this woman passed. There's not a day that goes by that something doesn't trigger memories. Like I'm sure you do the same thing with your friend that you were really tight with.
Yeah, for sure.
And anybody that's been through loss, that's listening right now, I think what I took away from it more than anything is that there is no wrong or right way to honor their memory and to remember and to, you could do all the recitals and the this and do it step by step, and you might not get shit out of it. And then you can do things that are off the beaten path that you're just like, yes, this makes me connect to their memory more. So there's no right or wrong. Like, don't let people tell you this is the right way to honor your people. There was a time where when somebody passed, you had to dress in all black for a long time.
To mourn them. You were
To
in your
mourn
mourning
them. Estabas de
phase.
luto.
Estabas de luto.
You know? And how dare you put on some...
Any color.
Any color. It had to be black. For... just to give that more perspective, you know, my grandmother, when her mother passed, shortly thereafter, my grandmother, who was diabetic, smashed into a old school metal suitcase
Okay.
and fucked up her knee.
Eesh.
She opened it, had a open wound,
Wow.
and in the pueblo that she was at, there was no doctor, you know, and she didn't want to go to the town, to the city,
Mm-hmm.
because the nana had just died. How dare you leave to go do anything? Like, you're supposed to...
Put importance on yourself.
This was in the early 70s.
Wow.
And again, this is the town where my mom would go on her knees to the church. This is a town called La Misa,
Yeah, you told me.
which is the mass. And so the traditions were really strong, to the point where this woman, because of observing these traditions and rituals, got an infection on that knee
Yikes.
and ended up losing her leg.
Wow.
Ended up coming here, and they took her to Harbor General Hospital. And, just immigrants fucking milking the system. So they took her to Harbor General Hospital,
I know.
got her some Medi-Cal, and
I'm fucking...
and they chopped off her fucking leg because, God forbid, she leaves the town and breaks the freaking
Luto.
luto. You know, that and I don't know, there's people probably still like that today in some places, that this is what you a huevo have to do, you know, in order to deal with it. So, you know, and there's different traditions for different people. I know that in your religion, you guys do the thing where you elevate their spirit, type of thing that you've mentioned to me, that I still have to do, and I still haven't done it.
But we elevate them so that they're not... We don't want them to be tied to anything here, you know, because we mourn so differently, and sometimes we suffer when we mourn, and at that point you have to like make a decision to not... It's like the least selfless thing you can do, right? Like, you just... I want you to go as wherever you believe in. I want you to find the light, whatever it is you believe in. You know what I mean? Like, just find the light. But that's a process, you know, like to elevate somebody to do... It's called a levantamiento espiritual. It's hard.
Spiritual rising.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard because there's a lot of emotions that get in the way, not in the way, but like kind of in the way, because you're trying to do something and it's really hard. Like, it's my friend's birthday just passed too, my friend who passed away. And on Friday, I went to Cantor's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The diner.
She loved Cantor's, so I went to Cantor's. And I went to go buy some stuff to put like as an ofrenda to her, you know.
Where is she buried?
She's buried right here in East LA. I don't go there anymore. I don't think she's there. I don't feel the need to go there. She's with me and her family. So I came back to like bring it, and it was like so difficult for me to do that this time. It's so weird because I was like, oh man, because your mind starts thinking, right? Like, I'm like, I totally think that your mom is around you and was probably laughing at the fact that you have not changed. Like, this is par for the course of Martin, right? Like, he's falling asleep, he's laughing in church. It's funny, right? And I think that moms, we have this instinct to just love the shit out of your kid, and I don't think that ever goes away. So like, I feel like sometimes it's so hard, even though people will be like, oh, you know, my friend's she passed away 19 years ago. But if you ask me, it feels like so fresh. Like, it's so fucking fresh, right? And it's difficult, you know? That's why I think everybody, even if you're not religious, you should probably try to do a Dia de los Muertos thing. Because I think it's like a good way for you to release and honor those people. And even if they weren't, you were lucky you had a great mom. But even if they weren't great, just let them go.
Let them go. Yeah, the people that sit there, oh my God, and they're constantly crying, and they're constantly like, I can't live without you, and how will I move on? I don't know that that's healthy for anybody.
I mean, we believe that I don't think that's healthy as a person. Take out the witchcraft. I don't think that's healthy for you. And then as a spiritual person, I feel like that is completely, I know that's not healthy for spirit, because their spirit doesn't have arms and legs to be like, it's okay, Martin. So you're going to frustrate them, and all they have is energy. So then shit starts happening and you're like, what the fuck just happened here? What the fuck just happened there? You know? So I definitely feel like mourning is so personal, but at some point you have to think, okay, I'm crying every day. I feel bad every day. Am I crying for that person, or am I crying for me? Are there things that I regret? Are there things I can't let go? That's usually what it is. We're not really crying.
It's remorse.
It's remorse, you know?
And woulda, shoulda, coulda. And if you live in the woulda, shoulda, coulda world, you'll drive yourself crazy.
Yeah, like I feel like with my friend who passed away, I don't have woulda, shoulda, coulda. I love her. We were really good friends. Everything, you know, everything we wanted to do, we did. I miss her in the physical form, and that is very difficult for me. That's the part that, even as a person who's very spiritual, I miss the physical form. I miss the physical form of my grandmother. You know, I miss the physical form of my godson Jaime, who passed away last year. I miss the physicality of it. Like, I want to go to my grandma's and her tell me off, because she was not like super like a nice grandma. She was just like, you know, no estás comiendo mierda y vete a trabajar. You know, like.
You know, it's funny, like you said right now, doing a Day of the Dead thing is important. You know, up until yesterday, I never had a picture of my grandmother from my father's side.
Wow.
I don't know what my grandfather looked like from my father's side. That man died in the mid-30s. Oh. And you know, back then it's not like people were taking pictures like they are today. It was very rare. Like I've never seen pictures of my mother as a child.
Wow.
I've never. They might exist, but it used to be a production to take a picture.
And it was expensive.
Correct. So, which makes me think that the Coco thing is kind of crazy too, where it's like, oh, once this picture is gone, then you're fucked. Okay, but anyway. What about all the fucks that didn't have a picture?
Well, you know, you don't need to put a picture on the bóveda or on your altar for Dia de los Muertos. You don't need to do that. Like, you don't.
But I mean, they made it sound like you did.
Yeah, no, that's like people who say, I'm gonna get your picture and I'm gonna do brujeria to you. Come over to my house. We don't need a picture. Like,
yeah, if there's a picture floating in the fideo,
it's not gonna happen. You know, like, come on.
So, what was I saying right now?
Oh, the picture. You don't have a picture of your.
Oh, so I didn't have a picture up until yesterday. So my cousin came to the service, and she brought old pictures of my tias, which were my dad's,
sisters,
aunts.
Oh, your dad's aunts.
My dad's aunts. That's what I meant. Yeah. So my grandmother's sisters.
Your great aunts.
Yes.
Wow.
So my grandmother and her siblings, pictures of them, and I'm looking at these pictures, and I'm like, holy fuck, because here we are in October, which is great. So my mom dies October 2nd, and then November 2nd is Dia de los Muertos, and so that's like a month of like and look, there's so many. I've heard so many things about Dia de los Muertos where it's like when the veil is at its thinnest, and the connection between the afterlife and this dimension are at its strongest, and yada yada. Right? So many different philosophies, which I don't know what's what, to be honest. You know, I don't know enough about Dia de los Muertos to have a like. If somebody were to say to me, "What is Dia de los Muertos?" I would probably say I don't know 100% what it is, other than this is what I've heard. But I don't know that these are all beliefs, if you will. And so you do whatever you want to do to honor your dead, I feel, in my opinion. You know?
I'm 100% in agreement.
And so, last year when my mother passed was the first, which is freaking nuts because I remember when people lose somebody, all of a sudden Dia de los Muertos or Day of the Dead takes on a different meaning. It's not just the sugar skulls and the goddamn, Chicano art at Olvera Street. It's a connection to your loved one's spirit. And last year, I took a lot of the pictures that I have of my relatives and I put offerings of, I put beer out there. I put sweets. I put different, I put sal and the different things that they tell you to put, I also put some cigarettes out there. I put some Kool-Aid out there.
Okay.
My dad liked
Somebody
Kool-Aid.
like Kool-Aid?
And I just put all these things and I put these pictures and then I had the marigolds. Is that what you call those?
The sumpatsuchil, the one that smells?
The flowers?
Yeah, huh?
The yellow and the orange? What are they called?
Simpasuchil, right?
What do you call them in English?
I
think they are marigolds.
I'm a beaner. Why are you guys asking me?
Yeah.
Simpasuchil.
Yeah. And so I had some of those that I put out,
La flor de muerto.
Yes.
I hate the way those things smell. Like, I cannot
They're very strong.
it.
And so I did all that. I had cupcakes and different chingaderas out there, and all the pictures. And all of a sudden, now I find myself with even more pictures of these ancestors that I.
So your
never
altar is
saw.
growing.
It's growing. It's growing, and it's growing from both sides, not just from my mother's side, which is who I mostly knew. My dad had really not a whole lot of connection with his. And not to mention my grandmother from my grandfather from my dad's side died when my dad was a child.
Okay.
And so his dad died when he was a child, and his mother died. I might have been 2, or my mom might have been pregnant or whatever. So never really knew her, I had my great grandmother and my grandmother from my mom's side. My great grandmother died when I was probably in first grade, but I still have vivid memories of the woman.
Wow.
And my grandmother, she's the one that I really like had this connection to, and so now I find myself at this place where I'm like, what kind of altar do I put up for these people? And what kind of honoring do I do for them? Because, I've never met them, but I'm here because of them, which is crazy talk.
No, I think that's spiritual growth. I think that until you make amends with your ancestors and allow them into your life and give them reverence in some way, your spiritual life doesn't evolve. I think you constantly have to give reverence to your ancestors, like... I just started changing the bóveda to put Dia de los Muertos stuff, like in the bóveda. And my mom's funny because when I was younger, she was very like, gotta change the bóveda. But now, she's older. And I was like, are we going to change the bóveda? She's like, tomorrow. I was like, no, I'm just going to do it today. So I started changing the inside bóveda. And I was putting stuff up. And I was listening to a class on spiritualism. But spiritualism taught the French way, right?
Okay.
So... And this person was saying, the fastest way to tap into your psychic energy is to give reverence to your ancestors. And she was making a reference to people who post things like, my grandmother's prayers are still protecting me. Like you'll see people who post things like that. And she's like, so spiritualism has gone mainstream. There's a lot of strength in that because your grandmother's prayers are still protecting you. Because if you're a person who's even somewhat psychic or somewhat spiritual, spiritualism cannot be taught. It's inherited. I could teach you how to be a santero. I could do ceremonies to you, and I can teach you how to be a santero. I could never teach you how to be psychic. And people confuse the two. Because not every santero you meet is psychic, and not every psychic you meet is a santero. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And they're not exclusive of each other. So I feel like until you take the time to honor your ancestors, like you don't, I don't know, like it doesn't flow the same. Like I had a rough time Friday with my friend, you know, and all those things. So I didn't go into the prenda room. I was kind of like, whatever about the bóveda, you know, like.
It's the way you worded that right now, just sparked a thought where you think about the Hawaiians.
Uh-huh.
And they constantly talk about the ancestors.
Uh-huh.
You think about the Native Americans.
And they're constantly talking about their ancestors.
The ancestors.
Even the
memory of the ancestors.
The
So
Eskimos in Alaska.
the Africans.
Very much so.
Very much so. So a lot of these ancient cultures revered or revered
Revered.
the ancestors. Way now we're in a generation now. Fuck you, old man. What do you know?
Yeah, or we're going to put you in a nursing home. Get the fuck out of here.
Cállate, way. You know,
You don't know
you're old.
nothing. You don't know nothing.
And there is some truth to that. There's a lot of you know, racist, fucking homophobic old fucks.
Yeah, but
Let's be real about that.
But let's say that you're not at that extreme where they're not racist or homophobic. I think that sometimes people who are older just get ignored anyway. But you know, más sabe el diablo por viejo que por diablo.
Of course, my mom said that to me every single day.
And it's true. You cannot. Time is a motherfucker. And time will teach you and time will humble you. Time will legitimately, the more spiritual that I become, I see things how they play out. And I'm like, fucking time, man. It will fuck you up. It will, because there's something none of us can escape.
Right. They say time heals all wounds. What it does is just gives you different perception.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that there's things that happen where your vision is clearer in the aftermath. So the next time it happens, you're like, I see this coming now. Whereas before, I didn't see this shit coming, right? But now I'm so fucking clear in the situation, you know?
Yes. All right, that was pretty heavy. I'm gonna have to go do a spiritual bath, and get cleansed and
This guy.
ready to go for spooky season.
You also don't need a bathtub to do a spiritual bath.
No, you can do it. Let's go ahead, talk about the spiritual bath.
Because people will message me and be like, I don't have a bathtub. I'm like, fucking neither do I.
Yeah, no, I just pour it on me.
Yeah, it's neck down, mix it with cold water. It's always cold water. Don't be a chicken. It's cold.
I do cold showers.
Oh, good. It's cold. But yeah, there's a lot of, for you to be able to do spiritual baths.
And then you also put it through a sifter, right, to get rid of the herbs?
I put it through a sifter sometime.
Oh, you let the fucking...
So like that one, no sifter.
No sifter, just...
No sifter. I just took out like as much as I could, but I still left some in there.
Okay.
But there is definitely...
There's stuff in there.
There is stuff in there. But there's definitely a magic to yerbas. And if you're taught well, that's why people will tell me, I want you to do it, not me. So... Which I don't have a problem with, guys.
I don't want to masturbate. Come fuck me.
Come fucking... You jerk me
You
off.
do me.
Now I'm going to think that when people are like, can I get a baño? I'm like...
Thank you guys so much for tuning in
Thank
to another
you.
episode of Brujo 101. I am Martin Moreno. To anybody that's lost someone, much love to you. Lots of healing. And may they rest in peace. To everybody going through grief, to going through whatever you're going through, listen, it gets better. I'm not gonna say it gets easier.
It definitely gets numb.
It gets better, yeah. So again, thank you guys. Hit us with the rate and review. Share us with your friends. Visit at Ashe Imports and stay blessed. Muchos wikis.